Yeah, I was reading some story about this oil pipeline in Saudi that supposedly blew up. And I got a very suspicious mind, but I'm not like very conspiratorial the way some of the giddy minds are that you get all over the place, Alex Jones followers and that type of stuff. But I know for real, there is a lot of crazy crap that goes on because I've seen some of it. But this was interesting because this like moved the market of oil up a lot, and the whole story was false. And they're saying reports an explosion destroyed pipelines in the flashpoint Saudi city of I don't know what the heck it is, are untrue. The reports are completely untrue. They originated from Facebook and Twitter, and the pipeline is still up and running. It says an online website called the Arab Digest posted a headline: Saudi Arabia's Eastern Revolution hits the oil sector, pipeline under fire, and two photos of what it claimed was a pipeline fire. Neither photo showed a pipeline. The fires didn't appear large. The photos couldn't be authenticated. The site quoted what it said was unidentified resident of Qatif calling the blazes a message to the U.S. to pressure Saudi Arabia for reform. It was false propaganda. That's what it is on the surface, but I kind of suspect something else. I don't know, this is really out there, but I would almost think it's almost like, well, if you knew this is coming up, you can break some money in. You can make some money in on the way up and the way down. It also gives you an idea of what it's going to do to oil prices. And I would think if there's going to be a war with Iran, the slightest attack that was on Saudi Arabia's soil against any of their facilities, can you imagine what that would do to oil prices? So I don't know what kind of ride I'm in for, because I got some of this UCO, double leveraged oil on the West Texas. But it may actually, technically, it shouldn't go below one. Well, I can do any damn thing. Because technicals they're kind of a tool amongst anything. But world events change the landscape so fast that technically you're looking down here, or you're looking up here. But it should actually go, technically it should float above 112, probably get up to 114. It should. That doesn't really mean it's going to happen that way. But I keep thinking that, this Lindsey Williams guy is half right, but quite obviously this new elite guy that's giving him information has set him up to the max. And I was digging out some more information on the guy because I'm a little interested in some of the stuff. I think basically, I think this guy's kind of, he's honest, but he's an idiot. Won't be blunt. He's honest, but he's an idiot. How's that? They're talking about Lindsey Williams was deleted from Wikipedia, and, the surface reason is because he's not important enough, but I think he would rate an entry because a lot of people kind of want to know who the hell he is. But it says down here the real reason is that Wikipedia just doesn't plain like Lindsey Williams or any other contemporary Christian preachers. In the Wikipedia cult, Jimbo Wales is the one true God, and Jesus is just some poor bastard who got nailed to a 2x4 and then his body disappeared for some reason. This was an best answer chosen by voters. But I think Lindsey Williams is like, he's a fool because he got suckered this time. I got suckered because I listened to him because he's a preacher. But I think, well, the reason I say he got suckered for sure this time because he said $75 to $100 or at least $75 silver by the end of 2011. And I pointed out that Eric Sprott and all PSLV insiders were selling, and it was known fact back in September. They were selling all through August. They were selling August and September, and of course Eric Sprott knew when to sell on Thursday, April 28th, when silver crashed that weekend. But those are insiders. So this insider that's telling Lindsey Williams about silver prices is lying to him to discredit him, and he's using this honest person, Lindsey Williams, to screw him over, basically, and screw over anybody who listens to him. But I think he's still got a grain of truth in some things. But I'm going to tell you something that don't add up about them using this Muslim Brotherhood in Saudi Arabia. And I don't think it's going to come about until they knock out Iran. Because they need Saudi Arabia to counter Iran. So, and if there's any truth to anything like what Lindsey Williams says, what I think is going to happen is they got to have everything online to locally for oil. But I don't know. I think these guys. I don't think what he's saying doesn't add up in a lot of ways, because if oil prices go up really super high globally, Russia is going to benefit a great deal, and the global elite don't control, the Western elite do not control Russia, I don't think. And one of the reasons the Cold War was won, at least on the surface, although I think it was all planned, was because low oil prices broke the Russian, their what they get revenue for exporting that commodity. So that broke them. High oil prices is actually going to put them back in the driver's seat, because they're a big oil producer, and they're a very strong nation as far as natural resources go. I don't know about this Lindsey Williams guy, but I keep thinking about some of this stuff, because I think it's pretty blatantly obvious they want to do an attack on Iran. Now, as far as Netanyahu doing an attack on Iran, he would have done it yesterday if it was, if it was up to him. But there's like all kinds of factors going in, so I don't think anything is rigidly planned. And I was stating before that Dick Cheney was president, we would definitely already have had an attack on Iran. There's no doubt about it. I don't particularly care for Obama, but I think he's kind of like a monkey wrench against the stuff, because quite obviously Obama is not actually controlled by the oil elite, because one recent article stated that he is no longer giving the oil companies tax breaks. So quite obviously, I don't know what the hell that means, but it could mean that to do anything to get him the hell out of office, because he definitely, Obama is not the guy that, it's usually the Republican Party, and I don't give a damn about any stupid politics, but I'm just trying to figure something out. But I do expect that this thing with Iran probably will come up in the springtime sometime, possibly, and it could be a good monkey wrench against Obama's next bid for presidency, because the oil prices will be high. And I kind of wonder about some of this stuff, like why they tell this Lindsey Williams stuff. And back, he's supposedly had his life threatened, and supposedly his book, Energy Non-Crisis, is no longer available. I don't know if that's true or not. It could be a BS rumor, like all this junk. But I think he's partly has some decent information, although he's been lied to directly. I know this for a fact, because these oil people, when I look at what happened here with this pipeline, you see how fast it moved. It was a fake story. It didn't even happen. Yet it moved the market up. So if they want the prices of gasoline to go high, they could do it at any time. And personally, I think that's the perfect way to destroy the middle class. If I was them and I wanted to make everybody like dirt poor, I'd do it this way. This is how I would do it. It's perfect. It's perfect. If you want to get rid of a bunch of people and screw them up, this is the perfect way to do it. And you can blame everything on Middle East tensions. So that's why I think they are going to do this stuff. And that's partly why I'm kind of leaning towards this in a way. And I do want to stay in oil and hold, no matter what the hell happens, till the situation gets up to a critical level. You know, I don't know if I'm going to sell off even if it pops up next week, and I don't know if it is or not. It's really, it's kind of like debatable. But if I was the elite and I wanted to go rip off, I want to screw up the middle class really good, it's the perfect way to do it, oil prices. But I also want to point out that when you know, you got these oil prices skyrocketing like that, yeah, it could break the economy. But while they're going up, silver's going to go right through the freaking roof, and so is gold. So, you know, on one side, a lot of people don't want these tensions in the Middle East, but on the other side, these are the things that are actually going to make you money. That's what's going to happen. Tensions in the Middle East are actually going to make you money on oil, silver, and gold. All those, and actually any other commodity. And if there's a big war, anything that's in commodities, period, is going to go way the hell up. Now, I don't think the United States is going to lose a war, but if a country ever does lose a war, if you want to see what happens to a currency, that's when a currency collapses, and that's one reason for holding physical metals. That absolutely would be. So I don't know, maybe this could kind of, you know, springboard into something else, but it'll be down the line a little bit before you see any other crazy things happen, because, you know, I wasn't like exactly born yesterday, and I've heard so many things for so long about, you know, what could happen with, you know, Vietnam situation and tensions with Russia and China and all this type of stuff. And, you know, the only thing I know is that whenever they want a war, that's when they have it. Whenever they want one, that's when they have it. And I think the United States, Russia, and China collude together. They do. They do work together. They play little chess games, but they're really not enemies like you think. So I think the one thing that's going to really get knocked out is probably Iran. I think that's almost a given. But what's that going to do to oil prices? Man, I think if this one pipeline was a false report, all Iran has to do is hit. And I think maybe they might, you know, I almost kind of suspect that this might have been, you know, a test of the market and what's going to happen. You know, kind of interesting about this, because I got curious about this stuff. To me, that's a pretty wacky story that somebody just goes on a newspaper, throws a couple pictures out there and says a pipeline was under fire from some, people in Saudi that don't like what's going on with the Saudi regime, goes out on Facebook and Twitter, and all of a sudden the markets go up several dollars off a completely BS story from one little dinky source. I kind of find that suspicious. Very suspicious. Now, what the hell does that mean? I almost think it would be like a test of the markets almost, you know, and besides, you know, a couple things. Maybe you make a lot of money on the way up, you make money on the way down, and it's a test. You see what would happen. Because I think if there is any conflict with Iran, it's not just the Straits of Hormuz. Just hit Saudi's production, their refineries, their pipeline, or, you know, any of their facilities, and oil's going to stay up super high price for like forever. I mean, used to at least a year. So if you want to destroy the middle class, this is the perfect way to do it. So I think Lindsey Williams got, I don't know, but I don't think they're trying to knock out the Saudi regime so fast. That doesn't make sense. They're trying to knock out the Iranian regime. So I don't know. Got a little bit interested in why that stupid oil went up like that, because of a pipeline. I knew it was a false story, but I started digging into it. I'm saying, That's kind of stupid. But you know, I've seen things like this before, like Somali gunboat tax a tanker, and you'll see oil spike like, you know, $5 in one day. And the Somali gunboat is like, there's nothing to it. And like, if you look in the area, there's like, you know, there's like 50 countries in there with warships that could knock this thing out in a second flat. You know, it's a joke and a half. You know, so why would oil spike $5? And you know, quite obviously, without getting in any kind of cloak and dagger conspiracy type things, that's really how kind of markets are kind of rigged. You know, like, I don't know what happened here, but you know, if you look at this spike here, this was when Libya was going on. Some news story drove this market up that fast. That's a hell of a spike. That's a hell of a movement. And I remember I was in oil at that time. I should have got out of it, not listen to Lindsey Williams, because my usual habit is to jump the hell out of things when I make money. It's just a trained habit. But I got it. You know, technically, oil looks like it's gonna. It looks like it's gonna really explode at one point in time, pretty soon. I mean, up another $5 or something. I'm not talking 150, like maybe $5. Get up over 110, might be at 111, 112. So I'll jump out of it again when I get that. Try to judge, you know, if there's a good day, I'll get the hell out of it. That's what I'll do. But I'm still curious about this Lindsey Williams character guy. I know he was lied to. I know this elite guy is setting him up, made him into a jerk, made him look like an idiot, because he's flat out wrong. He didn't get any good, and it wasn't because they backed off. That's BS. So, but he still got some truth there. But I kept thinking about this pipeline. I think it's kind of a test. I think it's kind of a test, and I think, you know, I don't know. Depends if they can influence Obama or not. I know yet Netanyahu would already be attacking Iran right now, and I just keep going back to what they said a few months ago. They ain't stupid. You know, I'm talking about the Israelis. They ain't stupid. You know, they don't want to look like the bad guys, and they got a lot of world opinion going against them. But they know that Iran is getting closer and closer to a nuclear weapon. That's a fact. So they're getting really antsy right now. So I don't know. I think this is coming up pretty soon. And you know, if the oil interests don't like Obama now because he raised, you know, he's not giving them tax breaks. Perfect way to knock out Obama would be through, you know, raising the oil prices due to a war. Maybe something, you know, make it look like, because let me put it this way, I am very well attuned to the mentality of the devils and how they play the game. So it is a chess game, and no rules, none. But don't think it's like, you know, they go killing people or some shit, because they don't. They don't. They got better things they could do. They destroy people in lots of different ways. And it's a game. It's a game, but it's a game I'm into, so I kind of like it. But just making an update, because I'm thinking, you know, oil possibly could float down, but I think it still would be a smart hold if I got it wrong. And I got very interested in this supposed pipeline. To me, that was like a rigged setup right there. I don't think the markets were that stupid. And it's not the first time. It's pretty slick. It's pretty slick. So we'll see where it leads. But I do want to point out, you know, if you're interested in silver going way the hell up, tensions with Iran in the Middle East are what's going to drive up gold and oil and thus silver. It will. You could take that as an ironclad postulate. I'll guarantee you that. I don't know about it. It's going to crash at some point in time, but when it crashes, it's going to be higher than it is now. Now, my game is I want to get the hell out of it before it crashes, including, and you know what, if I knew for a fact it was going to crash, I'd get the hell out of all this physical, but I don't know what the hell it's going to do. You know, buy it back cheaper. I don't know if I want to take that kind of risk, but I'll guarantee you 110%, without being a silver cheerleader, these events in the Middle East, what I ran, are going to drive up oil and gold a great deal, and silver is going to actually start. I don't know if it's going to happen at the same exact time perfectly, like you know, in unison, but it's going to drive up silver even harder. So we'll watch the silver cheerleaders. Watch them. They're a bunch of fiat money clowns, because you know what, they tell you to buy physical silver, but you know what, they're all getting paid in fiat money, all of them. That's what they're playing the game, and they're playing the little silver guy for a sucker. So, and you know what, I could see right through them. I could see right through them in a second flat. Do not trust 90% of these clowns out there with these silver this, silver that. I don't trust any of them. And you know what? I'm only looking about making money. Period. That's all.